Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for the JOJOLands Chapter 4 review, titled Versus Rohan Kishibe. As after the game's heist went from bad to worse, the story has finally built up to a confrontation between famous Japanese manga artist Rohan Kishibe and the local delinquents of Hawaii. A quick recap of the last chapter: Jodio's gang finally got their hands on the $6 million diamond, but were quickly attacked by an unknown stand, presumably belonging to the stray cat that's been roaming around the villa for this whole arc, which appears to be protecting something, either the diamond or the mysterious lava rocks in the villa. So getting right into chapter 4, starting with the magazine cover, as the JOJOLands was featured on the cover of this month's Ultra Jump, with Rohan all tied up and Jodio standing next to him with his power stance, showing him off like a fish he just caught, which doesn't actually spoil anything in the chapter. Maybe next chapter, but for now it's definitely just some artwork that will get readers interested in the JOJOLands who haven't started reading yet, as it does kind of spoil the whole reveal of Rohan being in the part. So for people familiar with JoJo that haven't started the JOJOLands, will probably pick it up after seeing this cover. So we left things off last chapter with Jodio activating November Rain as a distraction to buy some time for Dragona, Paco, and Usagi. Yes, I heard you guys in the last chapter review correcting my pronunciation of Usagi, so I'll try my best to keep it accurate going forward, but I still might mess it up every once in a while, so don't freak out too bad. You guys probably know by now my pronunciation isn't my strong suit. So back in the chapter, we start things off with Rohan being the clever fellow that he is, as he quickly deduces that Jodio's Rain is a stand and a distraction, so it doesn't make him lose focus, and he continues into the villa to see what all the noise is. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang, who's making all the noise, is still freaking out over the strain ability, which is still attached to Dragona and Paco, while Usagi avoided the attack in the last chapter and it doesn't seem to be going after him again, which allows him to be more observant and kind of figure out what's really going on, as he claimed that this attack is not an advanced security system, but rather a stand ability belonging to the cat that they saw earlier, which Dragona and Paco apparently didn't listen to, as they all say pretty much the same exact thing at the beginning of this chapter. Paco screaming, "Is this really a security system?" and Usagi explaining his theory again, which takes up pretty much the first 11 pages of the chapter, as all we've seen so far is Paco tried to cut the string with scissors, which doesn't work, as he stabs himself and says the string, while feeling like a natural material, is actually more like stainless steel. So not the best use of time from the chapter so far, if I'm being honest, as it reminded me a lot of some of the later JoJolian chapters, where it seemed the first 5 or 10 pages of each chapter was just reiterating something that happened in the previous chapter. So now on page 13, things finally start to move forward when Usagi finishes explaining himself. Dragona gets word from Jodio that Rohan is approaching them. So the three mask up, Paco wearing something like a paper bag with eye holes cut out, Dragona a simple face mask, and Usagi covers half of his face with stockings, which barely disguises themselves at all, and I think it's funny that Paco literally still has his name written on his forehead during all of this. So after being helpless against this strain ability for a few pages too long, they finally use their stance to break free, because we know Rohan is taking his damn sweet time to get here. Dragona using smooth operators to rearrange his hand to slide his hand out of the strain rather than moving the strain itself, and Paco wedges a piece of broken scissors into the wire, then uses his stand the hustle to grab onto the blade and vibrate his muscles extremely fast, which makes a lot of friction between the blade and the wire, eventually snapping it. So the gang is finally free, and I love how once they actually decided to use their stands, it took all but 10 seconds to overcome this ability. They then book it through the hallway out the window to the garden, although on their way out, Dragona notices that Paco's backpack is wide open, even though he was absolutely sure he closed it, and the diamond is sitting on the floor behind them. So it must have been taken out by someone or fell out when they were distracted by the attack. And when Dragona goes to grab it, Rohan finally reveals himself, as he reaches out towards Dragona's hand, and if you notice, Rohan's reveal here parallels his introduction in part 4, as he menacingly leers out from behind a doorframe obscuring his face and grabs someone's hand, like he did to Koichi, which is a nice callback all the way back to part 4. So upon noticing Rohan, Dragona steps away quickly from the diamond, and the two exchange threats. Dragona saying they're gonna have to tie him up, which was referenced in the Ultra Jump cover, and Rohan claiming that it's out of the question and he's already got the upper hand, revealing that he's already touched Dragona's hand as it bursts open like a book. So as many people could have suspected, this Rohan does in fact also have Heaven's Door, which allows him to read Dragona's past and the whole group's after Rohan beats up a bunch of teenagers teenagers, making quick work of Paco and Usagi. Although I gotta give respect to Paco and his stand the hustle really being almost the highlight of this chapter, as he was grappling with Rohan and putting up a decent fight, practically teleporting out of sight, attaching himself to the ceiling, grabbing Rohan by the throat, and even absorbing his limbs. I was completely wrong about the hustle. When I first saw the stand, I put it in D tier. I was like, this is Tenor Sack, Survivor, cheap trick tier stand. Oh, he can steal things and, you know, slightly contort his muscles to grab onto things, but I was completely wrong. Paco has done nothing but impress me so far in this part. But of course, Heaven's Door is still Heaven's Door, one of the most OP stands in the series, so Rohan quickly turns the three into books, which gives him a complete understanding of their intentions at the villa, their boss, how they found out about the diamond, and that they planned on selling it for cash, which surprisingly brings Rohan relief. He's almost happy that's all they were here for and all they knew about the diamond, which sparks even greater curiosity for Rohan's business in Hawaii and his research of the lava rocks. As we discussed in the last chapter review, I believe that the mysterious lava rocks, or the volcanoes themselves, are another blessing from the earth, which seem to be a recurring theme within the alternate universe, similar to the Devil's Palm, the Walleyes, and the Blessed Lands of Morio. These phenomena found in nature which are capable of unlocking stand abilities and the hidden potential within humans, animals, and sometimes objects. And I believe it was these lava rocks that granted the cat the stand ability, and it is now protecting them. So these rocks are something which Rohan somehow found out about and came to Hawaii to investigate them. And the diamond could be how he found out about the rocks in the first place, as he had brought the diamond with him from Japan. And in this chapter, we see that the diamond itself is supernatural to some extent, as it moves on its own like those old Chef Boyardee commercials, as it had jumped out of Usagi's hands during the fight, seemingly got out of Paco's bag on its own, and at the very end of the chapter, on the last page, it disappears out of Dragona's hands and starts to roll away. So in the last chapter, we had a pretty solid theory behind the lava rocks, and I still think it's true, although I had said that the diamond was still a complete mystery, and I didn't yet understand its purpose in the story or how it related to the rocks. But now after this chapter, and seeing that it's no ordinary diamond, my current theory is that Rohan had found this diamond or encountered it in Japan in some way, and noticed its supernatural nature. He did research on it, finding it originated from Hawaii and its volcanoes, so he brought the diamond with him back to its origin point, got more lava rocks and minerals, and is doing research to find some sort of connection between the rocks and the diamond, to uncover the mystery behind their powers or to try to create another diamond, which explains why he kept them both in a safe together, why he's doing petrographic analysis in the first place, why he traveled with the diamond, and why there is a cat stand user roaming around the villa. And of course, this is all supported by the fact that Rohan was relieved that Jodio's gang doesn't know the truth and that they were just trying to steal it. He's just like, oh, thank God, they're just trying to steal my diamond, no big deal, they don't know its true power. So I think going by that assumption best ties together pretty much every single current plot thread in a logical way. Although I've of course tried to predict Araki's writing in the past, and it doesn't always work out, as he's quite unpredictable and is always throwing curveballs into the story, so I'm really excited to see if this holds any weight in future chapters. And I know it might sound like a crackpot theory putting so much emphasis and importance on these lava rocks, but in the context of the story, this is not just a minor villain fight. This is still the prologue of the JOJOLands, and the result of this arc could dictate the plot for the entire part, similar to the entering the Gain arc or fun kicking off Josuke's mystery. As right now, there is no long-term goal to achieve for this group. Let's say the heist is successful, they get the diamond, woo, they go back, they collect the cash, and then they just wait for the next job. But if the cast is able to learn the truth about the lava rocks and they are really blessings from the earth, then they will have a whole new goal in mind, to get their hands on something so powerful they can make Jodio filthy rich, and possibly be a mechanism in itself. And I bet there are others and other evil forces that are also looking for that mechanism. So that's just one potential route the story could go, based on how things have been building so far, but really, who knows what Araki has planned for this JoJo meets Breaking Bad adventure. So that pretty much wraps up this chapter, and if you notice, Jodio wasn't in it at all, so I'm definitely thinking Jodio versus Rohan next month, where he either saves his friends or gets his ass handed to him on a silver platter, and Rohan shows Jodio what a real mechanism grind set looks like. But whatever the outcome of this heist is, I really think that Rohan, being in Hawaii and his research, is going to be the catalyst for the plot moving forward. As we see in this chapter, the diamond, which could be related to the volcanic rocks, but has definitely been exposed to them, might already be a stand user. So thank you all so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on the chapter, the JOJOLands, and predictions for next month in the comments. Love seeing your guys' thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. 81% of viewers in the last 30 days have not subscribed yet, so get on that. And I'll talk to you all real soon. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm out. Peace.